Yeah. Okay. And here we are. Almost time. I need to get into subs. Hey, Max. We meet again. Hopefully this won't be the last time on Twitch. Audio, video check. How's everything look? Audio check, video check. Have a look at how we sound, how we look. Alright. 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, we just begin. Hello everyone, I'm Ming Chow. I'm Associate Teaching Professor at Tufts University. This is the last Twitch stream of my Introduction to Cybersecurity class from Tufts University of the semester. This is it. Okay, it's the last session on last class on Twitch. Yeah. Been fun, absolutely been love Twitch. So before I begin, two things. One, do I plan to return in spring 2022? The answer is absolutely. Absolutely, I plan to return with another season 4, in spring 2022. That's number one. But number two, will I be on Twitch at all during during the winter break? Possibly. Possibly. I could stream a few games of FIFA in there. I could stream a few games of FIFA. So on this very last day of class, I'm going to do a little bit of a double take. And we'll see how much I can get away with today. Now, as the years go by, the final session on Twitch, and also you've seen me in my professional training since 2016. Some people may have, there's a running joke going around that, I try to get myself kicked out of InfoSec or cybersecurity, the field. I've been trying to do that since 2016 for very good reasons. And maybe you'll understand a little bit why today. Today's a little bit sobering of a presentation. And just as a warning, just as a very upfront note, I gave this presentation back in June, specifically June 23rd, 2021 at the Tactical Edge Virtual Summit. I want to give a shout out to Ed Rojas. Well, I know he's a Liverpool guy, but he runs Tactical Edge. Probably one of my favorite talks I've given in many years. I mean, I haven't had that much fun in many years doing Tactical Edge Virtual Summit in 2021. But you may be wondering, like, why in the world am I giving a talk that I've already been given? You'll see why at the end. You'll see why. And it doesn't have everything to do. Let me see how much I can get away with. Not only today, but also down the road as well, too. So, everything in this presentation is still as is, set in stone from June 2021. Here's the significance of this presentation. Here we are, this is going to end 2021. The year 2021 is we're going to put a close to that soon. This calendar year marks the 10th anniversary of me teaching Introduction to Security at Tufts. Yeah, my first introduction to security course at Tufts was in spring of 2011. This also is the 10th anniversary of my first talk at DEF CON and a few other big conference talks that year. 2011 was an amazing year. It was a real big year for me. Um, One thing I can tell you is, on a little side note, you can tell if it's sometimes your best year, your best time, is when you get out of your comfort zone. Just want to let you all know. Get out of your comfort zone, and sometimes that can really make the biggest difference in your life. And that was certainly a year I learned quite a bit. Now, going back to the here, look. 10 years teaching introduction security at Tufts. 10 years doing a cyber talking at DEF CON. And here we are 10 years later. And one can see many patterns in 10 years' time. And quite a lot of patterns aren't very good. Here's a little motivation. Motivation is this is a list of bright, shiny objects and security products and startups. If you want to talk about buzzword hell, here we are. If you actually are familiar with cybersecurity and you're reading cybersecurity, not just literature, not only just literature, but marketing crap, you'll see a lot of buzzwords being used. And within the last so many years, last few years, here are some of the buzzwords that have been overly used in cybersecurity products, literature, list goes on. APTs, Advanced Persistent Threats, other countries. Machine learning, comprehensive cybersecurity, real-time monitoring, behavioral analysis, next gen, and we're not talking about the Xbox or the PlayStation 5 here. We're not talking about those. Want to give a shout out to Russell Butterini and Christy Fallon. Want to give a shout out. Hope you're doing well. X gen and cloud enabled. Hell, now we even see a lot of Amazon AWS commercials on TV. At the same time, take a look at some of these headlines. Top U.S. undergraduate computer science program skip cybersecurity classes. Here are the 61 passwords that powered a Mirai IoT botnet. One of the largest hacks yet exposed data of hundreds of thousands of kids. Yahoo said they've stolen data from 500 million users in 2014. Why the hell? I mean, there are many days if you ever question your existence or why you're doing cybersecurity. Take a look at this. 81, not million, but $81 billion later, survey found that 35% have suffered 2 or more breaches in the last 12 months. 3 and 5 to be expected to be breached in 2017. Wait a minute. Whoa. Wait a minute. You may be seeing something ugly here between these slides. Buzzword hell. Well, this is old news. 2014, top U.S. computer science program skipped cybersecurity classes, 61 passwords, one of the largest hacks yet. And now we have Jeremiah Grossman. I'm showing a tweet from Jeremiah Grossman from 2017. Like, what? Here is the gist. Now, those last 3 slides were from a presentation I gave in 2017, 4 years ago. So, here's the gist of this talk. I could give the same exact talk from 2017 now, without any change, the same talk I gave in 2017, without any changes, and get away with it. In 2013, Veracode gave a presentation. I believe it was a Source 2013 conference in Boston. Thanks. We'll give a shout out to Well Pond. You someone to take a picture of this. We see the future, and it's not pretty. The predictions were pretty accurate. Average CISO tenure continues decline. The rise of the everyday hacker. Decreased job satisfaction, high turnover for security professionals. Default encryption, not opt-in, will become the norm. You can argue with me that over the last 10 years, a lot has changed. Yeah, a lot has changed. Hell, we're seeing bitcoins now and cryptocurrency and Dogecoin. We're seeing mobile computing. We're finally at a point where actually we're seeing, work from home. It's a good trend. Finally, people have finally paid attention that working from home is a thing and it should be adopted. While a lot of things have changed, don't fool yourself, don't kid yourself. A lot has stayed the same. Let's start with education. Now, if there's one little bright spot, is now colleges and universities are starting to offer cybersecurity programs. Not bad. We didn't have one when we were younger, when we were in computer science. There's also a plethora of free cybersecurity programs offered online, and I mentioned them over so many streams. Take a look at Malware Unicorn's online course. Take a look at what Portswigger does with Web Security Academy. We have now competitions like Hack the Box. So the good news is the word is starting to get out. At the important level of education, we are starting to see something with some emphasis on cybersecurity. The problem is this. Okay, with regard to problems is this. Cybersecurity programs offered at colleges and university are mostly graduate level programs. Still, not at the undergraduate level where it's definitely needed the most. Cybersecurity programs are at the graduate level, so you're not indoctrinating people at a young age. At the end, by undergraduate, however, at most engineering schools, most graduating students still have no clue what security is. And I can't tell you how many students actually reach out to me. It's like, I'm about to graduate from computer science. Still have no idea what security even is. Okay? Which also leads to another ripple effect, is that most students don't even know about such opportunities to learn. There are even such opportunities because just as their faculty just don't even know about them. What about K to 12? Very few. Unless you are lucky enough to have a mother or father, a parent, or a friend, or a family member who knows something about cybersecurity, that's your best way. But then it becomes a game of the haves and have-nots. It just becomes a game of the haves and have-nots, which is a telltale. It's basically the whole explanation is a tale of education in the U.S. anyway. Let's talk about application architecture. Look, it boils down to one word: the cloud. Someone else's computer. All right? Now, you have companies, major corporations, the list goes on and on and on, across any industry, financial, you name it. Everyone moving to the cloud for very good reasons. You don't have to run physical computers or farms anymore. You save a lot of space. You save a lot of energy. It has, even on a micro level, I'll just say about myself. Back in the days when 10 years ago when I started teaching, when I taught Introduction to Cybersecurity, to run the CTF game, I had to either create virtual machine images or I lug in the big PCs into a classroom. That's what I did. Now I can just spin up something on Google Cloud or AWS to play the game, and it's great and it's wonderful. It's available to anyone in the world. But here's the problem. Yet at the same time, although application architecture is now moving to cloud, we're still facing the same mistakes that we've made decades ago. A couple of really good examples. OpenFTP servers back in the heyday, now FTP servers are almost banished to a degree. We still have the same problem of Open AWS S3 buckets or Open Elasticsearch instances. And then now, instead of a whole bunch of documents getting leaked out, Open AWS S3 buckets and Elasticsearch instances, you get billions of records and files. So it seems like a lot bigger data leakage, in the grand scale. There's plenty of open insert your favorite servers here. Okay? databases, DNS, movies. Just take a look at Shodan. Hey, Oblivion. How about data privacy? Now, one thing we haven't talked about in the cybersecurity course is data privacy. What I can tell you is what it is. I mean, we just have an alphabet soup of data privacy laws in the United States, federal and at the state level. Also, at the international level now, one of the biggest changes within the last 5 years is now there's a GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, which is fantastic, which is a really good European framework for data privacy. However, at the same time, what's the point? Well, like, first of all, you got companies and institutions all collect so much data and then they get broken into. Remember when we did SQL injection? How many voter databases, not only just in the United States, but internationally have been popped because of things like SQL injection? Going back to my previous comment about application architecture, you got open databases and buckets are just there for the taking. It's like leaving the keys in the car. APIs. These days, if you want to build software, you're just using other people's libraries and works, namely in terms of application programming interfaces. And how many of those are actually really secure? We find problems with them all the time. We call the OAuth top 10 list. Any one of a bot that, and then at the end, all the data that's been leaked, they're just sold on the cheap. 10 years ago, this was the one big difference. One of the big differences 10 years ago, if you want to get data, it was kind of expensive. And we're talking about like 10 to 20 plus dollars. Now, they're just sold on pennies on the dollar on dark forms. Take a look at all the data on like ProctorU, Drizzly, you name it. All that data, and we're talking millions of records, all sold on the cheap. We're talking about just like under $1. So, Oblivioner, Max, want to ask you, are we still facing these problems? What about phishing? What about password reuse? What about weak password? What about distributed denial of service attacks? We're still facing those problems? Hey, the last time I checked, a lot of people are just sharing Netflix passwords like left and right. I'm just saying. How many people are sharing passwords on Twitch? I'm pretty sure that people are doing that. Okay, there you go. Distributed denial of service attack, now gone to a bigger problem, especially now with work from home, the pandemic, online learning, you name it. I can't tell you like every single minute, forget about every single day, every single minute, some poor public school system is getting hit with a denial of service attack. Yet at the same time, these problems, there hasn't been any good solution for any of these things. After all these years, how many times have we been asked to don't click on that link in the email? But how many times do we actually click on that link in the email? I don't think that advice actually works. What also has changed big time within the last few years is that now cybersecurity is just a geopolitical nightmare. It's a full-blown international crisis. Now we got critical infrastructure being attacked, hospitals, schools, and utilities. How many of those places are getting popped with ransomware? Too many. Okay, yeah, streamers get DDoSed all the time. Now, also kind of a good thing is that it's almost impossible to read an article about an incident without a certain country or countries being named. This wasn't a thing 10 years ago. But what has changed is, now cybersecurity is front and center in the news. And it's still going to be a problem. One thing I do want to make a side note is these are nothing. One thing I'm not going to do in this presentation, I'm not going to talk about things like what my cybersecurity predictions are in 2022. There's no need to, because you'll see the end. So what are the options that we got? Well, there's only two options in my opinion. Option number one is really easy to do. Just no changes, business as usual. Not everything actually is business as usual. No one wants to pay for anything. So what the fuck? Alright? But of course, you're still going to have the same exact problem. Nothing's going to status quo. The other option is really hard and also very expensive. Is that you have to make draconian changes. I mean, we're talking about cosmic changes that require cybersecurity at all levels, starting at the K to 12 level. You're already starting to see this already. This actually is happening a bit in the federal government. Because the federal government now has a program called the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, CMMC, when they're bidding out for projects. Now, if you want to work for the government on a project, you have to now prove, certify that you have some sort of maturity model, that you are actually thinking about cybersecurity. This is a good change. But it took years for this to actually happen. So you only got two options here to deal with the cybersecurity crisis, which is an international full-blown crisis. So, okay, fine. What the hell do you do now? Okay, what do you do now if you're listening in on this? Yeah, basically, I can go on a rant and say how this field sucks. Nothing's getting accomplished. Um, and I can go on a vicious rant on how everything sucks, but that's not going to help anyone unless, I talk about possible solutions. So what do you do from here? Look, the number one way still to prefer anyone that you hear from Rob Joyce at the who formerly at the NSA. Was he still in the NSA? I think he may be. No, he moved up. He moved up from the NSA. You want to get into any systems? Password. Number one attack vector. Number one thing is the immediate solution. If you want to actually protect yourself and want to spread the word, your best answers are password managers, use multi-factor authentication, and input sanitization. That's it. If you want me to actually go a little bit further and actually tell you what is a good recommendation for a password manager, I use Bitwarden. Multi-factor authentication, you can use like Authy or Google Authenticator, or we use Duo. Also, in the intermediate term, maybe don't call it a comeback. Maybe perhaps invest in old school, no non-tech solutions. Sounds a little radical, but it's actually not that radical. I'll give you an example. The U.S. Navy is now resurrecting celestial navigation. Yeah, anything with a computer can be broken. The long term is to invest in cybersecurity education early and often. Not at the college level, but we're talking about at the K to 12 level. But then again, we're starting to see a lot of K to 12 actually investing in technology education. It just need to be tied in with it. Investments for the future, always, like for short term, long term, it doesn't matter. Simplicity and talking to non technical folks and policymakers. They're the ones who have all the power to make laws. The last resort, what you don't want, is the heavy hand of legislation, which can be a double-edged sword, especially if it is done wrong. So those are your immediate things. You're going to have something to do. If you're going to actually do something about the cybersecurity problem, whether it's on a personal level or on a business level, here's your solution. Definitely invest in a password manager, multi-factor authentication, input sanitization. So there's a lot of lessons not learned in the last 10 years. And I've seen a lot. So where does this lead to? One last slide. You ever hear that old expression, crime doesn't pay? Well, unfortunately, crime pays, and it continues to pay very well. Look at ransomware. No one gets caught, quote unquote. Look, I actually have been monitoring how long we've been playing this game called Cybersecurity Skills Shortage. And if you actually take a look at this list, it's pretty fucking sad. Is that each and every year, I have since 2011, even before that, I list one article that talks about we are in desperate shortage of cybersecurity talent. And it's been happening way even before 2011. And here we are in the year 2021, and if we're still talking about cybersecurity skill shortage here up to this day, you know there's something is wrong. This is even worse than the boy who cried wolf. Cut the bullshit. There's going to be another executive order on improving the nation's cybersecurity, or U.S. cybersecurity. In 5 years, someone will still be giving a presentation or a training on what SQL injection is and what DDoS is. And here's the last point I'm going to make. I can tell you this much. Why don't I do this in 5 years? In 2026, I can give the same presentation as it is without any changes and get away with it. I can do a presentation from 2017 and literally get away with it right now. So I can tell you, if I give this presentation in 20 as is, no changes, I can still get away with it. Let that sink in. I don't need to work that hard anymore in cybersecurity. There you go. And now you know what the problems really are. And that's all I got. Questions, anyone? Can't debate this. I still gave this presentation as is from June 2021. I'll do this again in 5 years. I thought about actually just replaying the entire talk from 2020 from June 2021 here. I said I'm not so sure about the quality. I'd rather do one live so I can answer any questions. Anyone have any thoughts? Seeing none, I'm going to quit the stream. Happy holidays, everyone. Stay happy and healthy.